Hey beautiful, how you doing tonight? Welcome back to Lucky After Dark. Woo woo. Or how you doing today? Excuse me, because I post 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But anyway, this video we're going to be talking about gang members who became booty bandits. And I want to give 2 actual personal examples from my experience during my time in prison of the 2 different types of booty bandits. There are the kind that everybody typically thinks of is, and I think that like regular just straight guys, they probably consider booty bandits to still be this, is guys who go around taking another man's behind, just by force. Give me that. Come here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that that is the typical booty bandit. But there is another style. There is another style, another type of booty bandit. And usually this is more in like the queens, like the world of the queens, is a person who just goes around taking, or not taking, but chasing everybody's tail. Like pretty much any guy, any queen, such as any gay person, any transgender female, and then at times any just pretty looking guy, or maybe a guy that has like a big butt or something like that. It could just be a guy that with like the big fat booties and stuff, and it's like this, he's really trying to be nice to him all the time, and just, making sure he's good. Do you need any commissary, yo? Like, what can I get for you? Like, you trying to smoke up in my cell? Like, that is a booty bandit. So there are 2 personal, two stories from personal experience that come to mind. And we're going to start out first with Mr. Boss. For the OGs, raise your hand if you an OG. Hey. And you probably ain't going to raise your hand. You like, look, Lucky really acting kind of stupid in this video. Let me just keep my hand down. But anyway, for the OG people that used to watch the Prison Diaries, if you've gotten my journal, there's a few of y'all that have been getting the journal lately. Thank you. That is so cool. If you want to get your copy, check the link in the description. It's a special edition book, but you guys would know him. He's my prison sugar daddy that I had when I was locked up. He used to keep the guys away for me. He would give me anything and everything that I wanted. But I tried to get away from this guy because I was a little intimidated by him. He definitely was kind of scary sometimes, even though he was known to have like a reputation for never getting like physical or aggressive with the queens. But still in all, at the same time, he had never been in a real relationship. They always kind of used him, and he would use them, so to speak. And then with me, he just fell like crazy in love. So, hello, crimes of passion. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was definitely taking his feelings very seriously, which as it should be. Like, I felt like that was wise of me to do so. But part of why I felt uncomfortable with, him or by him was not only because of just the intimidation, his charges, but and his influence, like on this compound. He had such an influence over all the inmates and the administration, like the COs, the unit manager, everybody. It really, that's an intimidating thing, because it's like in your corner, yeah, it works great for you, but as soon as you're on the wrong side of the fence, 6 months in, if I had really like stayed with him, and then 8 months into the thing, or 6 months, Lord knows I'm a fiery type of person. Like, I seem to love being in love with people that I'm arguing with all the time. We going back and forth and stuff like that. Like, I was not, if I really had pissed him off one day, it could have been very dangerous for me. Like, oh my goodness, I don't even want to think like how badly that could have turned out. So there was also that. But a main reason, a very large reason, the point of this video reason of why I just wanted to kind of like get away from him was he was a booty bandit, yo. Like, straight booty bandit. The OG term. old school penitentiary term. He was once in the Bloods gang, and he had been locked up for 16 years. He even served time initially like in the higher levels and stuff, and he was actually like running the gang. Like he was in part of the gang from like being outside on the streets, and he kind of had like street cred, like legit street cred. Boss was a boss. Like he was just he was a boss for real. And then that carried over, you know, obviously into the prison environment, and he kind of like climbed the ranks because of his street reputation, and then his like, you know, reputation inside there, just being, you know, your badass dude type thing. He definitely loved to get in fights. He loved intimidating people. He actually got like a thrill from it, like an arousal type of thing from it. And well, clearly, snatching behind. He ended up snatching behind, and he eventually, I don't know if he ever did anything like that while he was still part of the gang. I think all of this started afterwards, but he started having like, you know, a desire for the queens as he's in there for a long time and stuff like that. And he's all Mr. Powerful, but there ain't no women to express this power, get out this power, I guess you could say. And he decides to pursue one of them, few of them. Of course, the gang finds out about this. He decides to quit the gang, and he did say that he had to be beaten out and stuff like that. And he said that he ended up beating them up. You know, this is what he said. But I kind of believe him only because he's the only person I ever met in prison that dealt with the queens and chased all of the queens and still had crazy respect from the gang members. I never seen that before, and I don't think that that is something that typically happens, like, ever. I'm sure if any like gang member or whatever, well, God, I hope you never see one of my videos. If you a gang member, click off my video. I don't know you, you don't know me. That's how I was in prison. Like I didn't want to be bothered with gang members. And then when there was queens that they loved. I met a couple of queens, they only dated gang members. They only messed around with the gang members. Like I was like, y'all is crazy. You really got a taste for danger, girl. Not me, honey. Not me. But that explains why you got them scars on your face and stuff, and them slashes on your arms and stuff. Like, won't be me. I have no scars. I have no scars. Just on the inside. Sorry about that. Cam just called. But anyway, back to this story. So he gets beaten out of the gang, and now he's like a free man, and, you know, or just like a regular inmate, not a free man, but he's a free agent, regular inmate. And he then, he never was ever like really settled with anybody, okay? I'm the only person, according to him, and even everybody that knew him, which was a lot of people, that he ever actually kind of like, you know, actually was with. So he'd just be like on himself. But the times that he told me that there's 3 times that he did this. Let me just cut to the chase, because I'm sitting here trying to formulate some sort of story, but I don't actually know his whole, like, you know, story. I just know there was 3 times that he claims he did this. God only knows if there was more times that he was ashamed of, he didn't want to tell me, you know, because for him, these are the times that he just told me. So, but, because of course, once I found this out, I grilled him about it, like, oh my God, I cannot believe this. And he tells me, like, kind of like that there was a reason for him. It boils down to, I think it was all 3. No, I think there was one person actually who told me that it was just because he, like, wanted to, or something like that. Which was, I think, the first time. I think when he was, like, younger, he says he used to have, like, a lot of anger and, you know, whatever. And he just, like, I don't know, he just took it out on people. I told you he liked to fight people and stuff and intimidate people. He was a really scary guy. Why do you think I tried to get away from him? But anyway, either there were 2 guys that disrespected him and one that owed him money, or it was one of each 3. Like, somebody that he had just wanted to do this to, somebody who had disrespected him, and then somebody that owed him money. So yeah, and that's why, by the way, I have made videos in the past that it's typically, people think that queens, gay people like me, or transgender females are the ones that are in the most risk of this type of thing happening to them. And I'm not saying that we're not at any risk, but not the most risk, because we are willing participants. I've said this a couple of times, but I'll keep saying it just to make sure, you know, it really gets in there. For real, this is the truth. I've seen it happen a couple of times while I was locked up, and then I heard several different stories, and then I've talked to people who did it, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, yeah, it's usually more often regular, like, I hate that I say regular guys, straight guys. It's more often straight guys that actually happens to, because they are not willing, they are unwilling participants. So if somebody wants me, they just feel like they need to just charm me, and they'll just always keep trying to do that. Like, they'll just always keep trying, because ideally, if you can get somebody who wants to do this, it's going to be a better experience, obviously, than somebody who doesn't. But, you know, some people are just twisted, and we are talking about criminals after all, you know. But in the case with kind of going into a guy, you sort of do want them to be, like, wanting to do this, because you're going into a door that needs to be prepared, okay? So we'll just say it like that, you know. I don't know, but then again, like I say, some people in prison, you meet some people that you wouldn't think even exist, like, in life, you know what I'm saying? At least I wouldn't. Like, some people that are just into really wild stuff, and or just don't care about certain things. Like, it's crazy to me. It's crazy. But yeah, so that is the old school type of booty bandit story of a gang member who turned into a booty bandit. Now, the second case, it's a little bit shorter, you know. This is just a little bit quicker of a story, because there isn't really much to tell. But I was at the state facility at this time. So this is actually prior to when I met Boss. And there was this guy in my prison diaries, I referred to him as Smash. He was actually in the Bloods gang too. And y'all, boy, did I want this man. But at the time, I just really didn't have, like, the courage to really, you know, pursue anybody. And I'm not really used to being aggressive like that anyway. That's part of my feminine nature, I guess, is I'm kind of more accustomed to the guy at least making the first move in some kind of way, you know. Then I can be a little bit more aggressive, but in terms of being the one to, like, initiate stuff, it's not typically my style to do that, which is why it's interesting, Cam and I's situation, because I chased him. I did. Like, from the get, I chased Cam. I let him know right away that I was into him, and with coy little ways. But then again, Cam did kind of make a first move still, because the first thing that he had said that made me wonder if he had, you know, liked me a little bit, was he complimented my smile, you know. We were looking at the rules of the program. Cam and I, for anybody that don't know, Cam and I, we met in a program, and it's a very strict program. He was my big brother, meaning like a mentor, so to speak, which I was thrilled when I saw that he was going to be my big brother. And we were over at, like, the wall by the door, the pod door, and it has, like, all the rules. And I was freaking out because it was 188 rules. And I'm like, there's no way I'm going to remember all of these. I'm going to be getting so many tickets. And he's just like, oh, no, you won't. He was like, all you got to do is flash that beautiful smile, and they'll just make them all disappear. And I was like, oh, thank you. Oh my gosh. And from there, yeah, I was pursuing him. Like, I was hardcore pursuing him, for real. Like, I was like, oh, the queens, they said, which he always tells me, he's like, when you said that, I knew you was lying, because none of them had he had not fooled around with anybody on that compound, you know. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh yeah, the queens were saying that they could see your print and stuff like that, and it's like really big or something like this, whatever it was. And he just kind of just like laughed. But later when he was asking me, he was like, what did you think I was gonna do when you said that to me? I was like, well, you know, some of these guys are so scandalous. I don't know, I kind of was, I guess, just hoping you just like whip it out and show me right then, like, oh, I can show you how big it is, and just like but he didn't. Yeah. And then also moving into the cell, I asked him, and then he hesitated. He was nervous because he, you know, he's kind of grew up sadly in the prison, so he's used to queens. They have a lot of drama with them. They have a lot of bullshit with them. Like, they are very promiscuous and stuff, and he wasn't sure if he wanted to deal with that. But I told him, I'm like, you didn't even think for a second that maybe I was different, because, like, I mean, it's not like I had already been in that pod for a couple of I totally changed the tone of this video, sorry, but I can't help it. I love my baby, I'm sorry. And he didn't call and interrupted the video, sorry. But anyway, I'm almost done. I told him, like, I've been in this pod for weeks. Like, how many cells did you see me running up in people's cells? How many people did you see coming up in my cell? Like, you couldn't tell that, you know, I'm a little bit different. I don't know, but, you know, anyway, that was all in the early stage. We are so different from those times. Like, I was a lot more just immature, and he was definitely way, like, more immature. Like, you know, we both were used to being single, you know. It was a different time, but you know, we've grown, thankfully, into a lot more of a, like, solid pair, and we don't fight actually like that much anymore. I couldn't lie to you guys, I started to be like, anymore. But anyway, getting back to this booty bandit, the gang member that turned into a booty bandit. But yeah, so it's just not my style to make a move, and he didn't make any move, probably because he was nervous, and he was in a gang, which is also part of the reason why I didn't do anything with him, because I was terrified of that. I mean, usually when a gang member gets involved with a gay guy or a transgender female, usually the gang member is the one who actually gets the most, like, trouble, you know, directed towards them. But there are plenty of times, I don't know what happened with this camera, my bad, it just like cut off. But there are plenty of times that both people get, like, you know, beaten up, stabbed. You know, I don't think that there's really ever a time that just the homosexual does and they don't do nothing to the gang member. I mean, I don't know, you know, who knows. But every time that I've seen or heard something, it was typically the member of the gang who really got messed up. And then there were some times that they went after the queen too. And I was not trying to have no trouble like that. And for what? Like, you know, dick is a dime a dozen. I've always felt like that. When it comes to guys. Like, dick is a dime a dozen, honey. So I just, you know, what is the point? What is there, you know, but still in all, I was very attracted to this guy. And he did kind of pursue me a little bit, in the sense that anytime I was in the pod talking with somebody, there was a good while that every time I would be out in the pod, he would try to insert himself in, like, conversations that I'd be having with whoever. He would try to insert himself into card games that I'm playing, walk with me towards chow or something like that. But then that's when his buddies, they really started kind of like grilling him about it, and then I wasn't making no move or really giving him like a hardcore signal other than just being like friendly, you know what I'm saying? So he backed off, and then I ended up moving out the pod, and I moved to the other side of the yard and all this stuff. So he then gets with another queen. He tried chasing Katrina, the transgender female, for a minute, but she was talking to too many people, that I guess that wasn't good enough for him. And then he did send a kite to another queen that I knew on that side of the yard, and then he ended up talking to KJ. She was a blonde Italian queen, and they were, like, you know, really getting close and chummy and stuff like that. And then one day they were fooling around on the rec yard, KJ was like sucking him off or something like that, like behind something, you know, I think behind the bleachers or something, I don't know. And the guys, they saw this. He got beat out of the gang twice, and then they forced him to go into the hole and leave the compound, which was crazy. And KJ was pissed about that. KJ was so pissed because, one, they don't do that for everybody. I mean, there's a lot of gang members that get caught messing around with queens. It's just the truth, you know. They don't do that for everybody. So KJ really took that personal, for one. And then for two, KJ then lost like respect for Smash, is the dude that I call him Smash. KJ lost respect for Smash because KJ felt like Smash shouldn't have like gone for that, like shouldn't have allowed it. The fact that he just went with it, he got beat up twice. They told him to check into the hole and leave. That's what he did. You know what I mean? Like KJ was like, what the fuck? So yeah, but anyway, that is my story. That's what we got for the night. That's my video for the night. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you check out the prison diaries journal that I wrote while I was in prison. The link is in the description. I also have other links, like if you want to see more like prison content and stuff. I know I've seen comments where you guys talk about like the documentaries and Locked Up and stuff like that. I got links to that stuff if you want to see any of that stuff. Or support like the LGBT community. I found some cute hoodies and stuff like that. When I get some money, I want to buy like a few, the links that I have down there, I want to buy like a few of the t-shirts and wear them on here because they're pretty cute. Like, you know, just in solidarity with the LGBTQ community. So, I love you guys, and I will see you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.